Check this out from NOAA, their latest so-called geostationary weather satellite known as the c.i.a. Lads, you blew it already. The first image that comes from the c.i.a. shows the Earth to be something that's scientifically impossible, i.e. a ball. So already we know this thing is a fraud, straight off the bat, because they're showing the Earth to be a ball, which no one on this Earth can prove with a scientific demonstration. It can. It's exactly the opposite. Everyone can prove the globe is scientifically impossible. Large standing bodies of water can't display convexity upon its surface. Tower cranes and pendulums can't be dead still whilst doing ludicrous speeds in all different directions. And you can't have an air pressure system next to a vacuum without a solid wall separating the two. Demonstrable truths, facts that can be tested and verified by all, the results of which prove this thing on our screen is scientifically impossible. Pinned comment for any practical references from globe believers to refute those three fundamental truths that I've just stated that prove this thing on our screen to be scientifically impossible. Don't want any words, explanations, cartoons, diagrams, stories. I'm only interested in scientific demonstrations that can be tested and verified by all. There are none that back the globe. Everyone that can be tested and verified that is a practical reference proves this thing on our screen scientifically impossible. Fact. Now we've got a firework. Oh dear, so we've gone from a scientifically impossible ball, an image of a scientifically impossible ball, to a firework display, to now CGI. Can you not see the problem? Oh dear. And then we come to this. I'm often cited this kind of stuff from globe believers as proof of satellites. But all this is a simulation that's got its data from old technology, as we're about to see. Nothing to do with satellites in space. If you've got a geostationary satellite watching half of the Earth consistently, continuously, then you wouldn't need hundreds upon hundreds of Victorian technology weather balloons, would ya? And that is the data that these hundreds of balloons get launched daily, that gets put through simulations, and then we get this sighted on our screen as somehow this comes from space. You wouldn't need hundreds of Victorian balloons going up daily if you had satellites in space, as we're about to see. Bear with me. So I'm over at NOAA, the National Weather Service for America, and we got weather balloons. Twice a day, every day of the year, weather balloons are released simultaneously from almost 900 locations worldwide. This includes 92 released by the National Weather Service in the US and its territories. So twice a day at almost 900 locations, 92 of which are in America or surrounding areas, weather balloons are released twice a day. Kind of gives the game away, lads. You wouldn't need to use that Victorian tech if you had satellites in space. The problem is you need to use that Victorian tech, balloons, to get the data to run your simulations to then cite that that's come from space. Satellites going around a scientifically impossible ball. Sorry, lads, the game's up. No one on this earth can prove the globe. It's daft. I can't take anyone serious now who tries to defend it unless they cite some kind of practical reference. And yet not one single person on this earth who represents the globe or believes in it can cite a practical scientific reference that backs the claims that can be tested and verified by all. It's ridiculous. I mean, how much is this c.i.a. actually? Bear with me. Look at that. $11.7 billion. fucking disgusting. Excuse my language, but it annoys me. $11.7 billion for that fraud. A firework display. An image of something that's scientifically impossible. CGI. And then simulations, which the data has obviously come from the hundreds of weather balloons that get released daily. It's an absolute joke and mockery for any of these globe believers, and disgusting that they're willing to pay that much money on fraudulent pantomimes like this GOES 18 when millions are suffering. I can't remember at the last, I think it was 500,000 in America alone are homeless the last time I looked. It certainly was a ridiculous figure. And yet this nonsense is going on. Bear with me. I thought I've got to put it on them. So I've gone into the comment section of this GOES 18 video. Why do you launch 190 weather balloons daily in the US if you've got satellites in space? I knew someone would bite. That is, of course, if my comment didn't get deleted. We've got Jess come back here. Oh, what's going on? The same reason the US military still flies helicopters when they also have F-22 fighters. Different vehicles have different missions. Same thing with satellites versus balloons. Different missions. And then I've gone on, I forgot the US Air Force is still dependent on 60s and 70s planes like the U-2, E-3 Sentry and the old Hawkeyes. So the mightiest country on earth uses Victorian tech balloons and vintage aircraft, yet they've supposedly got thousands of satellites in space. Have a word, will ya? I doubt that'll stay up. They'll probably delete that. But it's a joke. The US military is dependent on U-2 spy planes, which is an original, I think it was 1956 that thing was designed, was supposed to have been retired in 1969. But yet the Americans are more dependent on the U-2 spy plane now than they've ever been. That in itself is just obvious. The fact that there's no demonstrable science, the fact these firework displays justify for these so-called geostationary weather satellites ludicrous amounts of money, and yet people actually defend it, even though we know the data comes from Victorian tech, i.e. balloons. Otherwise you wouldn't need to use it. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Wake up, folks. Like I said, globe believers, I'm sorry, I can't take you guys seriously. Nothing against you. I don't hate any of you. Even though you make propaganda videos about me, even though you project your delusions and hatred onto me, even though you make money from my videos and you lie and misrepresent me, even though you can't even accept my fundamental claims, I still don't hate you. I pity you. I feel sorry for you. You're deluded, you're lost, you've got hatred in your heart, you defend things that are scientifically impossible, and yet you display all the things that are wrong with society at the moment. So I feel sorry for you. Wake up, folks. This is getting beyond a fucking joke.